Welcome aboard the middle, a very, very, very special middle. Barrett Brooks is in Syracuse, New York, and he's locked out of his room. And we have Xander Krausen with us here as he comes in like Mariano Rivera, and he's relieving Barrett here. Dude, so I get a call. I go, Sills, I can't get in my room. I called Xander. I go, shit, man, Xander ain't up until 2 minutes before the damn show starts, man.
Oh, bullshit. I've been up since 7 a.m., 6 a.m.
But hey, wait a minute. Who panics more, him or me?
You. You panic more. But before the show, you panic more. Hey, listen, I'm pumped to be sitting in here. I'm no Barrett Brooks, but I'll give you what I got. I got some good things to run by you, Mr. Sileo. But we should have a good show here before Barrett gets up from Syracuse.
Very good, man. Very good here. By the way, real quick here. I know we talk a lot of football here. I do have one thing as we get ready for the Sixer postseason. Our Sixer fans, as we get ready for the postseason, a little bit nervous about Doc. Are you a little nervous about the – he's got – listen – Celtics look like the team. Miami's good. Chicago's going to be able to be in that conversation. Let me say this to you. Last year, Doc, everyone was going, hey, man, your rotation.
Yeah, he's got that history.
That postseason. Hey, you can only hang your hat. Wait a minute, I got it. You can only hang your hat on that Celtic championship like Howie hangs his hat on that 17 Super Bowl rack for so long, okay?
Howie's at least got the benefit of it being in the last, couple of years.
Right, okay. So are you concerned about Doc in the postseason with the Sixers?
I am, but I'm also more concerned about, like Joel was talking the other day, and he's pretty much saying, if we want to go the whole way, everything's got to be perfect. Well, that's not going to be the case. Doc is not great with the late game situation, some of the lineups that he does. So I think it's a good point. I mean, he chokes a lot in playoffs. I'm not a basketball whiz, but when you look at the stats of what I know he's got the title, so that you can't take that away from him. But yeah, I think it's a concern, Dan. I mean, you get to the playoff time, it's like football. We always say Jalen Hurts will win you 10 games, but what's going to happen when Todd Bowles is game planning for him in the playoffs? It's the same thing in basketball. The floor tightens up, it slows down. Players need to be better, coaches need to be better, and the weak get exposed, as I always say.
And I had a chance years ago when I was doing radio down in Miami to talk with Riley. I go, Pat Riley, Pat, how do you prepare yourself when you get ready for the postseason when you had those great Showtime Laker teams? He's like, man, I shortened my bench, and you know what I put on chalkboards? Will. This is about will. You think I have to really draw plays up for people like Magic Johnson and James Worthy and Jabbar? You just make sure you get everybody in a position. They understand the importance. You shorten your bench, and you just go out and play 48. I don't sit here and, think about rotations, this guy, this matchup. Dude, I had the Showtime Lakers. I never thought about sitting around going, well, here, how about this? Let's go out and play 48 minutes. And I think Doc, and I love Doc. I've been friends with Doc a long time, man. Used to go see his kid over at Dr. Phillips High School when he was there in Orlando and he was coaching the Magic. I love the guy. But I've always said it, man, just like Joe Madden, too many damn lineup changes. Too many. Joe Madden 1 year managing the Rays had 147 different lineup cards. Bro, come on here.
I have a question for you. Why do NBA coaches go so deep? If it's me, like you just said, I'm playing my top, when it comes to playoff time, I'm playing my top 7 guys. I'm keeping one or two of my best players on floor at all times. I'm giving Joel 2 to 3 minutes of rest a quarter, and I'm going to bat with my best guys. If you're not in condition to do that for the short time of the year, I don't get it. Why would you run to 10 man when you're trying to beat the best players in the league? I don't get that.
I get okay. So we'll hit more up on that as we get closer to the postseason. So let me tell you how this thing started here before Again, we're waiting for Barrett Brooks. I love the fact that Barrett can't. Sills, I can't get into my room. I'm like, don't worry, we got you. It's all
good,
good.
man.
So you know what Xander said? Xander goes like this to me. He goes, Sills, I got a bunch of shit that I want to bang off of you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, Xander. I'm going to turn the mic around, and I'm going to aim it at you here. And you ask Big Sills some questions. Wait a minute, folks. I want to set you up here with this. Okay, sleeper. He's got a sleeper team in the NFC. I'm going to ask him another question because I did this in the afternoon show on the National Football Show about trading up to potentially get some help for Jalen, or maybe there's a guy in the draft. So go ahead, Xander. I mean, let's turn it around here and let's hear what you have on your mind. Because you know what?
I got
you
a
should see this
sleeper.
too, guys. He's got great intel, and you could tell in the back room, hey, this here, he's firing this off. That's bullshit.
All right, well,
Xander.
Listen to this sleeper in the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings, okay? Kirk Cousins, to me, reminds me a lot of pre-Rams Matt Stafford. He's a great passer. He gets the ball out. His receivers put up awesome numbers. And then just remember who they just hired. They just hired the guy. Now you can argue about how big his role was in the Rams offense, but the Rams offensive coordinator, Kevin Connell, just got hired to be their head coach. I think he might look at this guy a lot similar to the way he looks at Stafford. They have amazing receivers. They have Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. I don't know how good their offensive line is. Maybe I'm missing that part of it, and their offensive line is really weak. They did just get that new general manager, so we'll see how he does. But I think with that coach, that quarterback, those really talented wide receivers, I know they're not a bad defensive football team. Mike Zimmer was obviously the coach, a very defensive-minded head coach. What do you think about the Minnesota Vikings being a sleeper team? I think they could jump the Eagles. Everyone's talking about the Eagles, the weak NFC, not a lot of quarterbacks, not a lot of teams. So anyone can make their jump. I think a Kirk Cousins-led Vikings has a better chance to take a jump than a Jalen Hurts-led Eagles does.
That's a very underachieving football team over the last 2 years, okay?
100%.
I mean, Dalvin Cook is a spectacular back. I do think their offensive line is fine. I think the issues have been a little bit that they've lost on the defensive side of the football, some players on that side, but I think that they'll adjust. And I want to show you something about a coaching tree. Look at Sean McVay's coaching tree. Brandon Staley, Matt LaFleur, the guys are now starting to come out of that coaching tree of Sean McVay's there with the Rams, and they've had success. And I'll say this also about Cousins. Cousins, if you look at his numbers, I mean, he's putting up top 5 numbers every single year.
Dan,
and
just
now
ask
with
Justin
Packers,
Jefferson how much he loves Kirk Cousins.
And now with the Packers having lost Devontae Adams, they lost another wide receiver too. Just like the Eagles, though, okay? The Packers have come back to everybody else in that division too. You give somebody $50 million, Xander, and you're going to have to lose somebody. And by the way, one of the reasons why also I think Devontae Adams left is because how many more years Devontae Adams has on his career? It's probably 10 plus, okay? Well, Aaron Rodgers probably has 2 years left in the NFL maximum.
I don't know
so
about
he wants
Adams
to go with a
10
younger
plus.
quarterback.
He's 30 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, what's that?
He's 30 years old, Devontae
Right,
Adams.
he's got another bunch of years left. So I would say this to you. He wants to go play with his buddy that he played in college with, Derek Carr. And those guys are going to go out there and throw it around the yard there in Las Vegas. I think that division is open for other teams now because Green Bay has kind of come back to the pack the same way that the Cowboys have come back to the pack in the NFC East. So, listen, I picked the Vikings 2 years ago to make some noise. I think they've underachieved. That's a good-looking roster. I think Chris Spielman did a really nice job. But the head coach,
Spielman, right?
There was a lot of injuries the last 2 years up there, too. And for whatever reason, they just underachieved, in my opinion.
Mike Zimmer was an underachieving head coach. Everyone loves him as a defensive coordinator. He's a great defensive mind, but I think the general consensus around the league is that Mike Zimmer underachieved with the roster that Spielman built for him. And I didn't think Spielman was a bad GM at all.
No, I think Spielman's going to land somewhere big time.
I do too.
And I think Chris Spielman's brother Rick is going to do a great job somewhere else. I'll tell you the story though last night that just floored me. And by the way, so Xander knows this because get this, guys, we had Bruce Arians scheduled for last Friday, and he had confirmed it with Xander that
I got
he
the
was
email
coming
right
on.
here from Big Bruce.
What's that?
I got the email right here from Bruce confirming on the show. We're getting him on the show, and all this is going down behind the scenes, Big Sills.
And all of a sudden, 10 minutes after Xander gets that email, Sills, something came up, man. I'm going to get with you here, but something just came up. I'm saying right there that the Glazers informed him that he was going to be kicked upstairs and that Todd Bowles was going to become the next head football coach of the Buccaneers. Now, the question is this. Was this the number one reason that Tom Brady was able to come back? Was that he went to management, he went to the owners and said this, I'll come back if Bruce Arians is not the head football coach. Do you think Brady would be like this? Hey, I want someone else in the room. He loves Todd Bowles. He also loves Byron Leftwich. Is that in Brady's MO and who he is to sit there and go to the Glazers and say this, hey, man, go to Brian Glazer. Look, I'll come back if Bruce Arians is not the head coach.
Yeah, Dan, winners don't give a shit about feelings, dude. Tom Brady raised the Super Bowl trophy with Bruce Arians as his head coach. Tom Brady likes winning a lot more than he likes getting along with the head coach. I can't buy that narrative for a second. Just look at all great winners. They make hard decisions. Nick Saban benched Jalen Hurts to win the game in the second half. Tom Brady left them, went to the Buccaneers, and brought winners do what it takes to win the game. I don't think that Brady would look at a coach he won a Super Bowl with in year one and say, I'm not coming back. Now, there is a lot here in terms of.
There is.
I mean,
but I don't think it's there either.
There is a lot here. I just don't think Brady was the one that said, oh, I'm going to come back only if you move out Bruce Arians, who I won a Super Bowl with 30 months ago.
But it seems.
Or no, 12, 14 months ago.
But it seems. Look where we are here. I mean, all of a sudden he comes out of retirement. Arians is kicked upstairs. I mean, you're going to have people that are going to – and now this feeds that side of the story. Brady couldn't stand Arians. Those guys didn't get along. You know, that was a narrative that was going out there that Brady and him didn't get along.
Who's the guy? You wanted to bring him on to dispute it. I don't
think that was something that was Tom Brady's MO on coming back either. However, I do think that there was a power struggle. You got to remember something. In the Super Bowl year, they were 7-5 after the Chicago game. And Brady went to Arians and said, the risk it, no biscuit mentality is not who I am. We've got to be more systematic. And that dink and dunk offense that Brady ran for 20 years in New England is how we're going to win it. We can't keep – I think also, too, Xander, that was part of the reason that Jameis Winston struggled in Tampa was because that's a high turnover percentage offense. Is that
Bruce a chicken and the egg runs. Thing though? Was that a Jameis problem or was that a Bruce problem?
I think it's both. I think it's both Bruce and Jameis.
I mean, you and me both know that that's not happening with Tom Brady.
Jameis threw for 5,000 yards.
But me and you both know that Tom Brady's not putting up with that.
No, he's not. Doing that.
So that's why I don't know if that was
compromise.
Bruce. I think that was Bruce.
I think that was a compromise between the both of them because after that 7-5 start, all of a sudden they went on that run. And they went on that run and they were just like able to get
off my damn show.
So wait a minute, man. You got locked out of your damn room?
No, I didn't. They didn't have a room available.
What the hell? This ain't
so
no
where
ocean
are you now in the toilet?
Right, Brooksy?
Bro, I'm at the Embassy Suites, man. And they did not have a room already or available. And I called them in advance.
So did you get in their ass at least a little bit about it?
No, I'm nice. That's why I got a room.
All right, I'm dropping off. You guys have a good show.
Hey, so I'd be the one that would be out.
Yes.
So how was your flight?
No, I drove.
You drove to Syracuse?
Bro, I got up at 5:30, was out the door by 6, and got up here and what was it, 4.5 hours, 5 hours.
It's wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was longer. So it's only like 5-hour drive up there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Man.
Then
Dog, man.
I call Xander. He wants to pop on the show. No, get off my show, man. Get off my damn show, man. Can't be on my show, man.
hey, Brooks calls me up. He goes like this. Barrett goes like this. Hey, man, listen, man, I can't get into my damn room, man. I go, all right, you know what, man? We'll bring in Mariano Rivera for a little bit here, man. Oh, good, man. I'm glad you got him safe. How was the drive? Hey, I close my eyes when I get gasoline. My wife just tells me, just close your eyes. Don't even look. I just go like this when I get gasoline now, man. I can't look at it, man.
Well,
cost you some money to get up there?
Bro, I filled up yesterday and it cost me like $1.15. And I got up here and I'm right at E right now. I'm right at E, so I got to fill up in a minute before I go over to the stadium.
So $200 to drive up and back?
Yeah. Espen's got to pay me for it, dog. Espen's got to pay me for it.
All right, I was just talking to Xander on this, man. You think Brady pushed Arians out?
No, man. No, I think Bruce, man. Bruce, you think Bruce would actually leave? Bruce ain't doing that. Bruce wanted to leave, man. Bruce is like, man, I've been doing this for too long. It's time for me to take a chill pill. Let me go max and relax. That's what he's doing, bro. Nobody, bro. You know Bruce. He's not letting anybody push him anywhere.
No way. I would say this to you, Barrett. People are having a hard time believing that Bruce Arians wanted to have a football team so that Todd Bowles, I'm paraphrasing it, so that Todd Bowles wouldn't have to take a shitty job. And one of those shit jobs, now he's got Tom Brady because he took a shit job with the Jets.
Yes, he did.
Okay? Yes, nobody's going to win in New York. That guy, Staley, is not going to win, or whatever the hell, Robert, he's not going to win there, man. That organization is not set up for winning and for winning coaches. I've told you this before. Do you know in the 60-plus years that the Jets have been in existence, they've never had a winning coach outside of Bill Parcells? I mean, they've never had a winning coach. So why would Todd Bowles succeed there? So, I mean, to me, he's got a perfect opportunity now. The Glazer family is I've had my run-ins with them. You know, they were a little bit cheap after they bought Manchester United because they spent so much money getting Man U. And I went out on the air. I went, hey, the Glazers are broke. That's why this team sucks right now. And if you look at the timeline, so they called my bosses, dude, and they got me. Hey, dude, I got suspended because I said the Glazers are broke. And what? I said the Glazers were broke after they bought Man U because they gutted the team. They just gutted the team. That's when they gave Raheem the job. And that's when I went like this to Raheem. You see what this is? He goes, it's a blank piece of paper. I go, yeah, it's your resume. I go, how'd you get this job? And I love Raheem. And they got so mad because I go, you're selling stocks and shares of Manchester United to raise money because you don't have money for the Bucks. And so everyone got mad, but they're a good organization, dude. They want to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to win. I'm glad for Todd Bowles.
Well, the truth will set you free, man. You know, it's all about understanding, man. That you in order for a real team to make some money, like at this point, the Eagles, they're not broke. They're not even close to being broke, but they manage their money wisely. They're just not going to go out and just sign worthless free agents. Like, to be honest, Miami will be no better than they were last year.
Huh?
No better than they were last year.
Because of the quarterback?
Because the quarterback, number one. Number two, they're going to be learning a new system, learning a new way to play football. You know, it means a lot with who your head coach is. And I tell you what, you know, they let a really, really good head coach. Flores was a really good head coach. And, you know, he's going to take that with him. He's going to take, you know, that style with him, that attitude with him. I don't know what attitude this new coach has, but I do know.
But Barrett, you don't feel but Barrett, let me push back a little here. You don't feel better that they went out and got the guy from New Orleans, the offensive tackle, that they went out and got Tyreek Hill. Don't you look at Miami now and look at them and go like this? Now, look, I agree with you 100%. I think it was a shitty fire with Flores. Last 2 years, he improved that team. But they go from a defensive football team overnight to an offensive football team. And you look at what they've done just by putting the tools around. And if I were Brian Flores, I'd be asking, why weren't you doing this shit around me?
Exactly.
When I was down there, I would seriously be asking. But obviously, there must have been pushback between the coach, Chris Greer, the general manager, and Stephen Ross, because all of a sudden they're out there spending money like they're the Rams. And I would be like this if I was Flores. Why aren't you doing that about me? But I look at the Dolphins and I go, I don't know, man. Why do I feel better about the Dolphins today than I did a month ago?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like D-Train, I believe in Hurts, but I don't believe in the Eagles organization right now. I'm high on the fact that they're the Eagles, and that's it. It's not as though it has anything to do with them being a better team now, because they're definitely not a better team now. They're about the same. They brought back the same players. They're about the same. You got a good pass rusher / linebacker, and he's going to make a difference. But is that going to make much of a difference to win 2 more games?
In a very tough AFC.
Exactly. So, but when you look at the Dolphins and the players that they brought in, those guys got to gel together. Those guys got to become a unit. I mean, do they lose a bit of that spark that they had? They were an intense, tough football team. You could tell by the way, the way they blitz guys. They blitz guys so much. I mean, will they still have that same type of mentality? That's why they were able to hold teams to, what they've done to them, because they had a tough-nosed, hard-nosed style because their coach was that way. I don't know this new coach. I don't know what type of toughness he's going to bring to the table, but I do know this. Tua's accurate. Tua is a guy that maybe he does learn, but I don't know his upside. I don't know how much his upside is. I got to do a little more film work on him. But I mean, he's just a little dude, man. I mean,
and that is a problem in his injury history is a problem, man. I agree. Barrett, I think all the moves that they made, and I'm going to show you something about the Dolphins and how they're set up right now, though, for potential free agents or maybe trading for a quarterback down the line.
Yes.
If Tua doesn't succeed, look at what Chris Greer, the GM, can do. Hey, we've got a Tampa / ready-made Super Bowl winning team here for a top-flight quarterback to want. What quarterback in his right mind? Aaron Rodgers, maybe when the whole contract gets done, he goes down. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out here. What quarterback in his right mind wouldn't look at this? Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, tight end they just re-signed. You've got a ready-made team. You went out and got an offensive line. You invested in the offensive line. If I'm a star quarterback, that's a place for me to land, Barrett. I'd be like, if he can't get it done, sign me up.
Well, you think that's why all the rumors with Brady?
Yes.
You think there was some truth to those?
I think there was some truth to the fact that he either wanted to play in Miami, where they want to buy a home. By the way, Giselle and Brady are buying a home in South Florida. So that's a fact. And I thought maybe there could have been something to the San Francisco thing. Now, do I think the Buccaneers would have done it? Absolutely not. I do not believe that the Glazers and Jason Light would have went, yeah, sure, don't worry about it. Go ahead, Tom. We appreciate it. If you're going to play, you're going to play here. Right. And that's why I say this. I don't believe he pushed Bruce Arians out.
Me neither.
But I do believe that there was some conversation with, hey, look, man, it needs to be me and Byron here a little bit more. We've got this covered. But I don't think Brady put any guardrails in coming back and playing. I think this was all just about him coming back. And I think this too, Barrett. I think this is easy for the media to jump on this and make these narratives, because you know how the media is.
Yep.
They're going to jump all over this. I'm with you. I don't believe that this was part of it.
Me neither. I definitely don't. But
I got a question for you here. I brought this up in the afternoon show, and I'm going to ask you this. And I kind of took it from you yesterday. they went out and got Alshon Jeffries for Carson Wentz when Wentz was the quarterback for the Eagles.
Yep.
What about the Eagles? And the Lions are saying that they are willing to trade the second pick. How about the Eagles jumping up there to number 2? And the only reason I'm using 2 is because they're the first team that said that they're willing to trade down. Eagles have 3 picks. Well, if you really want to help Jalen Hurts, maybe what you do is you go up to 2 and you get that kid, Drake London. That may be a little too high for him. I've got him ranked. I got him in the 8 hole going to the Falcons. Or your edge rusher is up there, Thibodeau. Hutchinson's probably going to be the second player taken. The Lions are looking at potentially taking him. I think the kid Neal is going with Doug. I think Doug is going to take that kid for the protection of Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
I think he takes him. What about the Eagles? If you're so set and Jalen Hurts is your guy and you've been barking that at the meetings all week long, well, here's the only chance, Barrett, to fulfill that comment that Howie said that the Eagles have to gamble. Maybe the Eagles gamble and go up to 2. Would you do it?
No. I don't believe that there's anybody right now that could that's worth a number 2 as far as somebody that could help Jalen. I mean, who's out there?
Okay, and the kid, look, the Burks kid's not a second pick. He's like at 13.
Yeah.
Drake London is probably the number 1 offensive weapon. If you look at all the players, look, it goes OT, edge, corner, edge, O-line, edge. And the first offensive skilled guy, believe it or not, he's probably going to be the first offensive skilled guy, then a quarterback will go. Because I think Seattle's going to take a quarterback at 9. That's Denver's pick. Drake London's probably the first offensive player that will be taken off the board. That's a skilled guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's a number 2 guy. But
No.
if you're really looking to help this team and get better, would you move up to 2? You're saying no.
No, I don't think that. Look at the quarterback situation there. Is it worth going out and getting a quarterback? I mean, I got this from you. Is it worth going out there to get a quarterback that high in this draft? Because that'd be the only means in which I go up and get a quarterback that go up that far in the draft. I mean, that's a lot of assets you got to trade to go get a quarterback like that. I mean, to go get a player that they're talking about getting. You can get a game-changing defensive player like a Thibodeau type of guy, like you said. But
or Stingley at corner.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd invest 2 number 1s because you have to get like 2 number 1s for that, man. Wouldn't you think?
I think if you traded up, you'd have to give one of your 1s this year, and you'd probably, to get the second pick. See, I don't know how much you value that second pick this year. This is what I would do. If I were Howie and I wanted to move up, I'd move up, give you my 15th pick, and I'd move up and I would give you a 2 and a 3 in next year's draft.
Well, they'd have to have more than that. They'd have to have
get to number 2. Then the asking price is too much for the Lions then for me, because I don't see there's not a guy on this list outside of that offensive tackle from Alabama.
Yeah, Neal.
The kid from NC State.
NC State, yeah, he's worth it.
Okay. Where you're looking at guys that you go like this, holy shit, this is a game-changing guy.
Not for the number 2
I don't see a
pick.
Micah Parsons in here. I don't see, I don't know, man. The kid Burks intrigues me a lot from Arkansas.
Yes. But is he worth trading up for? Because I think you can get him right around where he's going to be at.
Well, but then what's the gamble here? I'm trying to figure out how you're getting. Are you getting better if you're the Eagles because the rest of the conference and the rest of the division is getting worse, and that's why? Because Xander said something interesting about Minnesota. He picks them as his dark horse team. It's a pretty good bet to pick on them because they've got a talented wideout. Their defense is good. Their O-line's decent enough. They got Dalvin Cook. And they got a quarterback that throws for 4,000 yards every season. That's not a bad pick, especially in that division where the Packers have come back. They've lost 2 wideouts. They've lost Devontae Adams. They're going to lose other guys on their defensive side of the football. So that division has kind of come back to Minnesota as well. Is this just a war of attrition, Barrett, that the Eagles are playing here going, we don't really have to do anything? Everybody else is coming back to us. Why would we go out and do anything right now for a player that is really not going to be a player that's going to move the chains enough, like you said, enough to where you go, let me give up some assets? Because really everybody in the NFC is coming back to the Eagles.
Yep. It's just this draft is different because usually you get a game changer on the offensive side of the ball to help a young quarterback. And I don't believe they're trying to help Jalen in a sense that, you know, you would go out and invest with a guy like Carson Wentz. They went out and got somebody. I don't see them going out and doing that in this draft for that. I think they're cool with staying where they are. I know a lot of people say, you know how Howie is, he wills and deals. I don't think he's going to will and deal this draft. I don't think he's going to try to get up to get anybody that's worth it, you know, unless it's a defensive player. But do you do that and make a gamble for a defensive player? That's where my head, I just can't get past that. I can't see him gambling for a defensive player. You know, it just goes against everything that I've seen how we do in the draft. You know, he's jumped up to get offensive players. He jumped up to go up there and get Carson, but you know, where else has he done that? He jumped up there to get Smith. You know, he jumped up to get Dillard.
What if Pickett falls down to 15? Hang on. Think about that for a minute. Let's hit on that on the other side. What if Pickett, what if he ends up falling down to 15? Would the Eagles gamble and go after him? We're going to hit on that. Barrett Brooks, Stan Sileo, great to have you in here, man. I'm glad you got your room, brother. All good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Keep it here on the middle.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you. Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
it's Dan Sileo. Before we get into that question about whether or not if Kenny Pickett falls down to either 15, 16, or 19 for the Eagles to grab, I opened the show with Xander talking to him about Doc Rivers. Just for you, Barrett.
That's a train wreck.
Hang on, what's this now? Are you concerned about Doc in the postseason? Does he concern you when it comes to the Sixers that they're in the conversation with Boston, with Miami, maybe Chicago a little bit? Obviously, Milwaukee's going to be in that conversation. Does Doc's coaching style concern you?
Yeah, but I think he has two guys that may transcend him being a coach. And when you get into the playoffs, I think he'll look at it a lot different than he looked at it last year.
Because of the addition of Harden?
Yeah, just the addition of Harden gives him the autonomy. I mean, when you're in the playoffs, it's win or go home. So all this minutes and divvying up minutes, no. I mean, Embiid's got to play 40, 41 minutes. Harden has to play 40, 41 minutes, period. I mean, there's no other way around it because there are stints where, you know, they blow huge leads because they lead those guys out. And don't take them out together. You just don't do that. Don't take them out together. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to rest them early and then win the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to a lot of people in Philly talk about maybe, you know, throwing a couple of these games so they don't become the number one team in the conference, just so they don't have to play the Nets in a play-in game. I mean, after the play-in game, they get in, then you don't have to play the Nets. You can't avoid it, man. Go ahead, play the best team. It doesn't matter to me, you know. But it just doesn't make sense how he's coaching right now and blowing these leads for lineup changes. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't care what you call.
Done this. It's been my only criticism of Doc, Barrett. It's been.
I don't care about the X's and O's either.
I know. I mean, you know what? I was telling him that Pat Riley. I asked Riley, coach. This was the Showtime freaking Lakers. Then I asked him what he coached. He goes, "Shorten your bench. All about Will. Really X's and O's. It becomes secondary, man. Because if you don't know your opponent, you don't know the Boston Celtics right now with Mikal and Bird and what Dennis Johnson and them dudes are going to do by now, you'll never know. Nothing I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this is about Will now. This is about going out and getting the best. But I will say this to you, Barrett. I think James Harden's reputation, I think his legacy is on the line. How many superstar players do you know that have moved as much as James Harden has moved, looking for the fountain of championships? Yeah. And it's just not panned out. He ate his way out of Houston. He cried his way out of Brooklyn. And now, dude, you know, if Carson Wentz has to prove himself in Washington, James Harden has to prove his ass in Philadelphia, because I'm going to look at him in a different light here and go like this with this dude. If that guy bombs out once again, when he freaked out and just flamed out in that Nets game a couple weeks ago, Barrett, if this guy doesn't show up in the postseason, I'm going to look at this guy and go like this. You can shit all over Aaron Rodgers all you want in the postseason. James Harden is also a guy. He shrinks in the postseason. I think his legacy's on the line in Philadelphia. This postseason, I think it's on. It's got to work.
It's championship games. The championship series are his bust, man. And he's the key. Embiid has showed that, you know, he can carry a team. But when you look at how you teams win, even with the big man, when you had Kobe and Shaq, it wasn't Shaq that was hitting the last second point. It's always the guard, because he has the ball. He has the ability to go out there and create shots on his own. When you're a big man, you usually don't do that. And that's been what the 76ers have been lacking, because Embiid shouldn't have to go out there, be dribbling and making his own shot. He should be out there and the guard brings it up, and he has that ability to hit the three if he has to. And the only way you give it to Embiid is if, you know, he's wide open because you're about to take the shot. It's got to be that 1-2 tandem that, forget Tyrese Maxey. I love him, but no, you win championships by having your guard go out there at the end of games and hitting that last second shot. Now, Harden, he's shown that ability during the season. but it's the postseason. The postseason is where you build who you are. We know Nick Foles not from even that 22 and what was it? 27 and 2. We know him. We don't know him from that. We know him from being key at the end of the season where it matters, where it's count. That's where he got his nickname. That's where he got everything that Nick Foles is.
His legacy.
It's where it came. That's why he will always eat free in Philadelphia, because the postseason, not from what he did during the season, but the postseason.
Absolutely, man. That year you're talking the Pro Bowl year where he had like 26 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Yeah.
People look at that and go, great, great. But they look more at that Super Bowl run, like you said, man. That's what he'll always be known for.
Against the Raiders, he had 7 touchdowns. He's in the Hall of Fame right now. And his jersey and his cleats are in there for that 7 touchdown game against the Raiders. But they don't care about that. Nobody really cares about it. They care about what he did in the postseason. And that's where you're graded, man, when you talk about greatness. Look at the Bucks. I had never seen a player will a game since Jordan and Kobe like I saw Giannis do last year. That last game, he willed it by himself.
He was spectacular.
It was crazy how he won that game for him. And that's the effort that you have to have. That's the effort that I need to see from Harden. He's got to give me that, because I've seen Embiid give it.
Don't you think too, Barrett, about Giannis, that I think the American media have a problem with the fact that they had a problem the last 2 years saying that he's the best player in the NBA because he's a foreign player. You always want to give it to Durant. You always want to give it to LeBron James. You want to give it to Steph Curry. But like you said, dude, he was unreal. And he's been unreal really the last 3 years. 4 years, you could look at Giannis and go like this. That's the best player in the game.
Yeah, and he showed it. Wasn't he back-to-back MVP?
Yeah.
I think he was back-to-back. But
yeah,
look at it now.
I think the last guy to do that was Steve Nash.
Right.
Right.
But,
no,
man,
I'm saying I can't wait to see what the postseason is here. By the way, I've got to give it up. I've done something anti-Barrett here.
What's that?
So I didn't want to move the refrigerator.
You didn't get it done?
Hold on. No. I did get it done.
Okay.
But I did it anti-you. I paid for it. I look at him. I knew this would, but listen. So Kim goes like this. All right. The refrigerator downstairs had too much mold in it. She was not having that. She said she tried cleaning the shit out of it too. She said, no way. She got a dolly. Okay. Got the whole thing. I was going to lift my ass. She gets, it's not going to work. She looked online to try to buy. She didn't, because she just goes, well, these things are like $1,000, $800. I'm like, me, man. I'm like this, dude. I'm like, if you keep it up, I'm gonna have Barrett make us a refrigerator. Okay, he can weld one of these bitches together for us here. And I'm like this. So the dude comes in. His name is Igor. So Igor, he's from Ukraine too. So Igor comes walking in. I think that I can fix it for you. And
hold on. When you get through the story, I'm gonna tell you a story, man. And I know it's gonna sound like I'm just jumping on the bandwagon, but I got a story when you get through talking about this guy here.
Me though. I said I can fix it. I will not charge you the $59 for the doctor's fee. I was like, there's $59 just come out and tell me if I need a part or not. Holy shit. And my wife goes, well, people don't do shit for free, dude. And so I go, no, man. Well, so the guy comes over and goes, $500. And I went like this. Jesus, son of a bee and mine. And I go, and I tried to do this. Well, no, Sill's house has been a little tight on the money, the last couple of years. $518. I think he added the 18 on.
Just to piss you off.
I was being a jackass. And he goes, so man, I yesterday after the show, I go up there. My wife goes, so it's fixed. All right. I go, did he take a check? No, he swiped it. And I went, shit. I wasn't going to hose him, But I $500, man. So I broke down, dude, man. Because I was like, man, it saved me on lifting the damn thing, buying one, having it installed. I don't know shit. I lost an oil cap on my Hummer, dude. I mean, I don't know shit about anything. So I broke down.
Well, but at least you kept it, man. But look, it's funny.
Plus, it had my own smells in it, and I don't want another freezer would smell anyone else's shit in it. So it had my pasta fazool and it had all my stuff in it. So I felt, I don't want anyone else's shit in there, man.
Well, look, your guy's name Igor. What's his name? Igor.
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 I don't know. He's from Ukraine, and he's like, jeez, I thought I was talking to Putin. I was like,
well, look, you're gonna think I'm lying, man. But I have a guy. His name is Ivan, and Ivan helps me in my garage because he helps me clean my garage out. Ivan, I'll go pick him up at 7 a.m, and we won't finish until 7 p.m. And he doesn't stop, man. He does not stop. I'd be like, look, dude, we got to take a lunch break or something. No, let's finish it up. Like, dude, Rome wasn't built in one day. It said, this might be a 2-day job. No, we can get it done. We can get it done. Bro, I'd be so ready to take him home, man. I'd be ready to take him home around about 4:30. He said, no, we can finish it. We finish at 7. I'm like, yo, but Ivan is a black dude that talks like he's a Russian. Dog.
Hold on. A black dude named Ivan? I'm not sure I've ever heard of that. And he talks Russian?
He talks like he's got that accent. He's from around the area, not the Ukraine or anything like that, but like.
Oh wait, he's one of them. He's one of them Southern Russians.
I think he's from Poland or something like that, man. Seriously, I'm not lying, bro. I'm like, dude, and Ivan works his ass off, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a cool dude too, because I had to I met him through my boy. My boy met him because he was living in a garage.
Oh, geez.
Living in a garage, yeah.
Hey, Doug's right. Dude, there's black Russians. I only know black Russian. I know I drink it. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy, we had another guy, because I told you my shitter overflowed. And this guy came in, man. He cleaned everything. He goes, I can fix anything. Anything. I don't know why we got a bunch of Russians, man. I'm all good with it. I don't give a shit who it is, as long as you fix it for me. I don't care what you are, man. And so my wife goes, yes. So I can't wait to tell my wife, man, you've got Ivan and I've got Igor. But what do you? I had a breakdown. I thought of you too. I said, Barrett, never do this shit. There's not a chance in hell he'd open up $500 to fit. That refrigerator would have a new engine in it.
Right. It'd have been a super new improved. As soon as you put it in there, 5 minutes later, it'd be frozen.
No shit. Yeah, if you put wings on it, it'd fly. Yeah. All right, let's get into this, man. I mean, all right, dude. I'm still waiting for this magical sentence to be fulfilled here that Howie had. I'm sorry. And people are already saying, Sills, move off of it, man. He's not going to gamble. His gamble is what he's doing now. But maybe I'm just throwing shit against the wall here too, because I'm just not seeing this guy's game plan. I just don't see it, man. But
you don't see the end game, right?
Yeah, man. I guess here. What if Pickett falls to 15? Do you take him?
That would be something that Howie just couldn't resist. He couldn't resist that. Him or Malik. Malik Willis, if he went down that far, if he was around 15, he would pick him up. I truly believe that. I mean, it's a quarterback factory, bro, and he just couldn't help himself. That he waited until 15 and got one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. He would use that as his calling card.
Thinking about that for a minute too, Barrett. So if Howie Roseman, who likes to have all the credit, obviously we see this now, he wins the Super Bowl. He finds the quarterback for the Eagles for the next 10 years. Doesn't that cement his place in that organization's history forever as the best general manager?
He's already cemented himself with that, bro.
No, he's given himself that title.
Well,
but others would perceive him, hey, you found the best quarterback that the Eagles have had since 5. McNabb's the best quarterback in franchise history.
Yep.
Okay? I mean, Gabriel, Sonny Jurgensen, those guys, sure, okay, you have to go back at YouTube and watch them dudes play. No disrespect to them. Randall, he's better than Randall.
Vic.
I don't know if Donovan is not as – I don't think he had the explosive plays that Randall had.
Nope.
But he's a better quarterback than Randall.
Yeah, better overall quarterback.
Better overall quarterback. Randall had huge explosive plays, with the runs, the way he ran, the way he threw. He was kind of like Kaepernick before Kaepernick.
It was exactly what it is. He's just like Vic also. Vic had explosive plays, you know what I'm saying? But it's not the explosive plays that really win. It's what you do in between those explosive plays. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want Hurts to develop into that type of quarterback where the only way you can move the sticks is with explosive plays from him. Sometimes you just got to nickel and dime. And 9 times out of 10, you nickel and dime a defense down the field. You keep the ball. You create time of possession. That's how you win championships. Those big plays, they're hard to come by, especially when you get closer to playoff time. Because when you get close to playoff time, that's when things start to stiffen up, and everybody starts jockeying for that time going into the playoffs, because those last 3 or 4 games are positioning you in the playoffs. So everything starts to tighten up. Guys start running the ball more. Defenses get better. And if you are a team that, wins off explosive big plays, then it's tough. It's tough as a team to go out there and go into the playoffs and win big in the playoffs. I mean, you got to have some consistency. I don't want Jalen Hurts to be one of those guys that's going to be just a big play threat. I need him to be a guy that's consistently moving the ball down the field. Tom Brady moves it consistently down the field. Same with with A-Rod. He consistently moves the ball down the field. When you have an offense that could do that, it's hard. Like Kansas City, big play offense. They didn't win it this year because of that. They didn't get the big plays that they were accustomed to getting.
We just had a add to the conversation of the best Eagle quarterback, Joe Krause, Jaws. Throwing old man Jaws in there, man. I tell you what, one thing about Jaws, when we had him on, there is nobody in the world who ever took more of a beating by LT than what Ron Jaworski did. Dude, I know he effed up Joe Theismann's leg, but the guy who took the biggest beating from LT was Jaws. And Jaws would just do this, man. He'd dust his ass back up. He'd get up, get back in there. Tough as shit, man. I love me some Jaws too, man. Jaws, probably over a long period of time because he played so long. Jaws McNabb, man. Jaws McNabb and Randall are probably the 3-headed horsemen for the Eagles in franchise history. But my point is with Howie, can you imagine if he found this kid Malik Willis turned out to be like the franchise guy, or Kenny Pickett turned out to be the franchise guy? Howie's got his quarterback for the next 10 years. If he's sitting there at 15, I'm starting to believe that I do think that he would end up taking chunky soup.
There's no question that he would. That's a foregone conclusion. If Kenny Pickett is there, if Malik Willis is there, he's going to pick them up. I mean, this is a quarterback factory. He
needs so many other pieces.
It doesn't matter. To him, that shiny new toy, he just can't resist it. He's got to have the Red Ryder BB gun. Even though he might shoot his eye out, he's got to have the Red Ryder BB gun, bro.
Damn, dude. The way he looks at how he builds the team is so unconventional.
Yep.
It's everything with a checkbook. Okay, it's like this. Okay, over here we're gonna be financial. Did you see what the Cowboys told Bobby Wagner?
No.
The Cowboys told Bobby Wagner, yeah, man, you're a Hall of Fame player, but You're not going to fit into what we're doing. So wait a minute. You're talking to a Hall of Fame football player. Stephen Jones said that this guy's a Hall of Fame football player, but they're going to pass on him. You know why they're passing on him? They don't have the room for him.
Yeah.
They don't have the money for his ass. That's why they're not bringing Bobby Wagner and Micah Parsons on the Dallas Cowboys. Hoss, you would solidify yourself as the best defense in the NFC East if you did something like that. But because they can't afford it, they got to pay for their draft choices. They're going to go into the draft and get on rookie contracts. I'll say this to you too, Barrett. The Cowboys believe in the draft too. Because can you name me in the last 15 years, 10 years, who's the biggest Dallas Cowboy free agent that they've signed?
Is it Amari Cooper?
But they traded for him.
Oh, they did trade for him. Yep. That they signed. I guess you got to look.
Right? I mean, you know, I was always under the assumption, Barrett, that the Cowboys, they bring on, because back in the day they got Dion, they did, but Haley was more of a cast off from the 49ers because they didn't want him in the building anymore. I'm trying to think. Okay, the T.O., he got moved there. I think that was a free agent sign by the Cowboys. I'm trying to think in the last 20 years who the Cowboys have signed that was really huge. And I can't come up with a guy. Okay, Owens. All right, Rich Owens.
That's it.
So the point is that they are really big and building through the draft.
Oh, and it works
really big on paying through the draft.
But it works for them. I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, look at their roster, man. Their offensive line are guys that they signed.
All drafted.
All drafted. You look at the quarterback position over the past couple of years are guys that they signed. I mean, they brought Randall in late in his career. They brought T.O. in, but for the most part, they're guys that they drafted. Look at the wide
Tony
receivers.
Romo was an undrafted free agent they signed. I mean, he was undrafted. It wasn't like he was some big money guy. They got him on the cheap.
Yep. So, it's they believe. Look at their defense, man. The guys they drafted, man. DeMarcus Lawrence. They got Micah Parsons, Diggs.
A couple of years, Jalen Smith. They had him a couple of years ago. They had, like you said, DeMarcus Ware. They had all these guys that they went through the draft. They're not big. And so, again, I don't know, because maybe that's how Howie's looking at building his team too, because who's been the biggest and most productive free agent that the Eagles have signed in the last 20 years?
Well, they've had a bunch of them.
Is that T.O. too?
T.O., Jenkins.
Jenkins from New Orleans.
Sproles. They brought in.
Did Sproles come from Carolina?
No, Sproles came from New Orleans.
New Orleans, that's right.
They got Brandon Brooks. They brought him in. Tim Jernigan, Alshon Jeffrey. They got the corner. What's his name?
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay. They brought in Nelson Harris.
Well, they've been more productive they've been more active in free agency than the Cowboys have been, actually.
Yep.
Maybe that's the determining factor on why they've won more ball games, playoff-wise, since 2000 than the Cowboys have won, because, even though Howie has made poor long-term deals on some of these free agents, there's been a contributing factor with these free agents that he's brought in, and he's done it fiscally, hasn't he? Because look, even though they are, and Xander brought the point up a couple days ago, there's still $35 million with dead money on the cap. However, you're still 30 under. So you've managed that, and you've managed to win. I'm just saying, man, I'm trying to look at how he sees an offseason. Would you say the Eagles have had I don't think they've had a bad offseason. I just don't know what you would classify it as. Are they worse than they were in the final game of the year? No, but are they better? They added the kid Pascal, okay? They added the kid Smith.
Would you say underwhelming? They're status quo, man. They're right in the middle of the pack. They are a 8-9 win team right now. They won't eclipse.
You don't think they win more than 9 games next year?
No, they won't get 10 just because they have done nothing to make themselves better. Dallas has gotten worse because of the salary cap. I think Washington has gotten better because they brought in Carson, and he's going to make a difference because it's better than what they had.
Seattle's got worse.
Yep, Seattle. The Giants have gotten better, not from the personnel they brought in, but the coaches they brought in. You know what I'm saying? I think that coaching staff is going to make them a better team. So they've gotten better. Minnesota, I think they've stayed status quo. I think that, from last year, I think the Bucks have gotten worse. Dallas has gotten worse. New Orleans.
Do you think they've gotten worse? The Buccaneers have gotten worse because of Bruce Arians not being in the building?
Him not being in the building. They're letting Leonard Fournette go. Both their guards are gone. They did sign their center back, Jensen, back. From a defensive standpoint, they lost a corner and a safety. They don't know if Sue's coming back.
That's right. They've been in contact with him. Let's take a time out. Hey, NZ, guy's on the road. He's not going to scream like Sileo is going to scream. Guys like this, why is Barrett down? He's not down. He's being responsible so he doesn't wake everybody up in the damn – holy God, not everybody could be a fat mouth like me, Hoss. All right. Let's reset here. Hour number 2 coming up. Hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Welcome back. The Middle. With Barrett, Brooks, Dan Sileo. Did I say National Football Show going into the time? God, Jesus criminy, man. I don't know.
Oh, I also said Fournette. Now, Fournette signed back. He signed a 3-year, $21 million deal. So
CTE kicks in when it needs to, I guess, sometimes for us here.
Oh, bro. I tell them all the time. I don't even front.
Hey, no, what I do, hey, dude, I write everything down now. My wife gives me a calendar because I can't remember shit.
Bro,
my wife does this. Hey, remember that girl that, Dee Dee played?
No.
Hey, man. Seriously, man, you better be somebody exceptionally important in my life to know your name and me to know who you are. Or for me to remember things, man. Hey, Sis, remember? Not happening. There's somebody, hey, this is going to be terrible. Terrible. Somebody once, I'm not going to say, it's not Harry because I love Harry. Okay? So Xander goes like this. You worked with him. You ever heard of this guy? I never heard of him. I never seen him. I don't know who he is. And he said he met you. I go, dude, he could have bought me dinner. he could have bought me dinner, dude. I wouldn't have remembered who he was, man. It's just how I roll, man. I don't know how you are, but for me, man, I don't know. It's not how it works here. Let me ask you something here. Has Tom Brady changed the landscape of NFL quarterbacks forever? And where I'm saying with how he conducts himself, where what we're seeing with all these quarterbacks now. So Brady pushes his way out of New England, wanted to go to a place, brought guys with him, wanted to have more say in an organization. By the way, I potentially think now that Brady could play another year, depending on how this year goes. If he's healthy and he finishes the year healthy, he might want to play another season because Tom Brady right now in his career has more power and more say in an organization, Barrett, than he has ever had in his career. He never had it in New England. They barely were listening to him at the end. He made comments about it. They never really took my input. Don Yee, his agent, said it. And now look, Russell Wilson's pushed his way out of Seattle. Look at even what Aaron Rodgers did. Aaron Rodgers pushed his way into a $200 million contract guaranteed. Look at what Deshaun Watson with 22 accusations of sexual misconduct gets an $80,000 raise sitting on the sidelines, chewing on ice all the 2021 year. Has Tom Brady changed the quarterback position for better or worse?
Brady probably you could say that he made it better because number one, he changed the outlook. It's not all about the money. It's sometimes you take a hit if you want to bring guys in. He showed people how to deviate through a lot of situations where you want that almighty dollar, but sometimes winning is more important than that dollar. He showed that aspect of it.
He reinvested in himself, right? Right, Barrett? He reinvested in himself by saying, look, I'll take a $5 or $6 million haircut as long as it goes into the OT, offensive guard, or skill set guys. But doesn't it come along with this? Hey, I'm going to do this and take haircuts as long as you're retooling the team. I think this is what happened in New England. They stopped. Look at that last year team he had. He had nobody to throw to. Nobody was on the team. There was nothing there at the end of the day. Don't the Eagles owe that also now to Jalen Hurts to put as much talent around him as possible?
That's the problem. They're not doing it. We're talking about it, but they're not doing it. They have brought in one offensive player to help from the outside to help out Jalen. There's only one offensive player, and that one offensive player you brought in is not what you would call a game-breaking type of receiver.
He's marginal at best.
Right. So you can't say that you're helping Jalen out because you're not. Unless they go into this draft and draft three, wide receiver or three offensive players, Jalen is going in with the same offense that he left with. Now, how are you gonna get better with guys like that? You're just not gonna get better like that.
See,
They're not giving him the tools.
Your expectations and everyone's expectations about him getting better. It's not that I don't think Jalen will be a better player. That's not what I'm saying. Will he be better at reading defense? Yes. Will he be better? Because he wants to be. He wants to put the work in. He is putting the work in. But there's only so much you can do, Barrett, when you have a limited amount of gasoline in your car. Okay? I mean, you can only go so far. I mean, look, dude, right, Barrett? You can have the greatest SUV on the planet, but if it's got $10 of gas, it's only going to go so far, man. And that's kind of what the huddle has right now. They don't have a full tank, and it's not a full tank for him to get better and to go where he needs to go.
So how are you going to say? How can you say this offense is going to get better? Jalen's going to get better when you don't give him the tool. That's like me being a craftsman, me going out and I'm a plumber, but you don't give me a wrench,
right?
You don't give me a pump, you don't give me any of my resources that I need to use to be good at my craft.
And you're telling me to make it look as good as new.
Yeah, like I'm a welder, but you're not giving me any type of welding machines. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work. You got to get this kid somebody that can play, somebody that's a threat. There is no way that the defensive coordinator looks at that offense right now and say, oh, man, we got a threat right now. What they're going to say is, oh, they got a great offensive line. I know they're going to run the ball. Let's stack the box. They don't have anybody that's a game.
How about this, too? It's a great point. Okay, so if Jalen's going to get better, what is he going to get better at?
Right.
What's he going to what can Nick Sirianni and the offensive coaches do with the limited amount of players with skill set potential to be able? Okay, what are you going to do more with Devontae? Figure out more pass routes for him? Are you going to try to get him more in open space? Are you going to try to do things with him? How are you going to show me that you're going to make him better? And his numbers are good. Some of you think he's going to throw for 4,000 yards. I think that's a pretty big putt to go 900 yards, 1,000 yards in improvement. When I look at the offensive skill set, guys, you're assuming then that Devontae Smith is going to be a 1,500-yard guy. You're thinking Quez is going to be a 900-catch guy. And you're thinking this kid, Zach Pascals, is going to turn into a 600, and Goddard's going to be a 1,000-yard guy. If you did that, you'd be in the NFC Championship game, and you'd have one of the most prolific passing attacks in the NFL. I just don't see that. I don't see that shaking out because he just doesn't have that skill set. Duck says 3,800 yards. I told you what that means, Duck. I'm just going over 16 games because I'm saying that they're going to have a night off, 1,600 games. 16 games, 3,800 yards divided by 16. Games. So you're saying 237 yards a game is going to give you an opportunity to win your division and put you in the playoffs and put you as a contender in the playoffs. Bro, that's not going to be cut. That's league average is 255 yards a game. You're still underwhelming as a passing attack.
Yep.
You're still underwhelming. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they're looking at getting him better. And by the way, I brought up the history of the team yesterday after what you and I did. Do you know in the Eagles' history for offensive weapons, wide receivers, there's 3 tight ends on the list with all-time yardage. And 4 of them are from the 50s. Barrett, there's only 2 modern-day guys. That's Djax and Jeremy Maclin, who are 10th. The rest of them are the Mike Quicks, the Harold Carmichaels, the Retzlaffs, them guys. Guys I'd never even heard of, too. Tommy McDonald is 7th. He played in 1951. How can you call yourself a high-powered offense when you've never had high-powered offense guys?
And it's too late now. You look at the receivers that are out there right now. The only way they could get better in free agency right now is I mean, I see basically 2 wide receivers in free agency that could, help your offense. Right now, it's Julio Jones, number 1, and Jarvis Landry, number 2. After that, I'm looking through the list.
Jarvis Landry?
There's not a lot of, T.Y. Hilton, Jarvis Landry. I just don't see, the offense. They just did not go out and get the, the players when free agency was hot.
They didn't want to. They were never in. And get this, the guy they were going after with Atlanta, he didn't play last year. He was on some sort of Ben Simmons sabbatical. And they got a guy with a dent in the fender that they were trying to get on the cheap. They were going to get Calvin Ridley for not market value because of the shit that went on with him last year. And I'll tell you what, too, Barrett, thank God that the league stepped in right away when they did, because can you imagine if they had made that trade and all of a sudden he got suspended after that trade, after the Eagles had made that deal? That's probably why Park Avenue came in and suspended him, because that deal was getting ready to come down, and the Falcons probably weren't being transparent with the Eagles on, hey, there's an investigation, because there's no way Howie is going to go and put assets on the line if he knows there's a chance he's not going to get that player. Why would he? And so the league, in my opinion, had to probably step in, because there's no way Atlanta was going to continue to tell him, oh, by the way, there's an investigation going on with him gambling. There's no way Atlanta was being transparent with the Eagles, and all of a sudden they had to step in and stop the deal. Because you notice how that all worked out?
Yep. That was tough. That was close too. They were close to a deal. I'm looking at.
They probably had it done, and they probably had to step in. Hang on, there's something coming down from Park Avenue, because it all worked in that whole time frame of 3 days or 2 days. That all that shit came down, that they were in the conversation of going after Ridley, because he got suspended. And then get this, didn't it come out 2 days later that the Eagles and Falcons were working on a deal to bring him to Philadelphia? Right? I'm just saying that's probably how it ended up working out. Why did they go after? See, I said this, and I said probably something that made way too much sense. I would have went after Amari Cooper, and I would have said this: you weaken the Cowboys. You bring a Cowboy in. He knows the division. He knows the game plan. That made too much sense. See, I believe in weakening your divisional opponent as much as I possibly can. Okay, if you got someone on that team and I can get him in free agency, I want his ass, because he could tell me all about it.
Especially when he's hurt you. He's hurt.
Yes.
He's hurt you before.
And they just didn't seem. Maybe it's because of the $35 million in dead cap money that Howie. He really, manages that. Dude, this guy's got a zipper on his wallet. This guy's got a zipper, doesn't he? He really
he takes care of the owner's money, man. But we've got we don't have any weapons. We don't have enough for Jalen Hurts. But then you look on the opposite side of the ball, we still don't have another starting safety.
Yeah, how come Honey Badger? Where's Honey Badger?
Guys out there. You got Tyrann Matthews, you got him. Even Landon Collins is still out there. I mean, I know he's a little old. Trey Waynes, he could play cornerback and safety. Stephon Gilmore's still out there, but I know he's going to want to play.
I'd like to have his dude. He was the defensive player of the year in 2019. I'm good with him. I'd like if you put Bobby Wagner and Stephon Gilmore on the Eagles defense, you improve overnight.
Oh, no question. Yep. You couldn't do anything with that defense then. You could do nothing wrong with it.
Gilmore, get this. Gilmore and Slay as your corners and Wagner in the middle, handling your triangle with, get this, watch this. Think about that. Wagner with the triangle and the guys in front of him are Hargrave and Fletcher. And then your corner, dude, wait a minute. Your corners are Gilmore and Slay. My triangle is Bobby Wagner running it with Fletcher and with Hargrave in front of me. Bro, your pass rushing improves immediately. Your pass defense improves immediately. You're telling me you think you're going to get as much improvement in the draft as you could with the two players that I just mentioned? No way.
Not even close. And it doesn't matter that Stephon Gilmore, okay, he's 31 and Bob Wagner's 31. Those two can still play, bro.
They can still play.
Yeah.
They could still play. Let me shift gears over here to you and go over to this. You think the deal in Cleveland has made Baltimore pause on Lamar Jackson? You think it's influenced it in any way, the negotiations for Lamar? Let me make the case for Lamar for a second. Led the league in passing, touchdowns a couple years ago. Prior to him showing up, they had 5 years of non-winning football. He's brought the team to the playoffs. They hadn't been to the playoffs since they had like a 4-year hiatus from the playoffs. He's won an MVP. He's checked all the boxes. This guy just wants a win. Man, I love Lamar Jackson. He's been injured. There's a negative check in the box. But all of a sudden now you're hearing people in Baltimore go, yeah, I think it's because of the $230 million guaranteed that came out of Cleveland. Because let me say this to you. You give Deshaun Watson $230 million in guaranteed money, you're going to have to give Lamar Jackson $230 million or $250 million in guarantees, because that dude can play. That dude's a star. That dude, and Xander brought a great point up. Are you going to win a Super Bowl with that style? I'll tell you what he does, though, Barrett. He puts you in the conversation every year that you can win a Super Bowl. How do you handle Lamar Jackson's contract?
It's so hard right now because you got A-Rod in his contract. You've got both of those guys. So I didn't know that his mother and him are negotiating the contract.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem that Steve Bichetti said at the owners' meetings, is that we're working on Lamar's timeline. And see, he actually doesn't want to talk about the money because get this, people in his camp, and I know his boys down in South Florida. You know why he's kind of paused the negotiations? He doesn't feel the last 2 years he's lived up to his reputation of being a game-changing guy. And that's why the owner goes, we're on his schedule on negotiations. We've called him 5 times. He's not picking the phone up on negotiating. I've never heard that before. He's just, he doesn't feel that. He goes like this, that shit that's out there with me wanting to leave Baltimore, I never want to leave Baltimore. I love the organization. He should. It's a great organization. And that's why you give him $250 million. You know why? Because he doesn't think he's earned it, but he has. That, when Matt in that movie Gladiator, this is why Caesar gave it to Maximus. This is why it has to be you. It's because this guy is humble. He's a leader. He's proven his worth. That's why Lamar is safer to me than even Deshaun.
Yep.
He's safer to me because this guy's desire to want to win a Super Bowl, I'm rewarding that. I think he deserves it. Xander's right. I don't know if that style will deliver a Super Bowl because no receiver in his right mind is going to play there. There's just not.
But they drafted him.
You got to draft him, right?
Yep.
Do you give him $250 million guaranteed?
250?
Yeah, he's got to make market value now, man. You got to go up. You're not going to just give him Deshaun's deal.
Guaranteed, though, man.
Guaranteed every dime of it. Do you do it?
I don't think the league allows them to do it. You see what they're trying to do now. If you guarantee a player's like that's contract, you have to put like half of it in escrow. You have to have the money available in escrow. So
the guys can make money off your money in escrow instead of you making the interest off of it. That's so shitty and shady.
Right.
That is, man. That's so shitty and shady.
Oh,
It's so
said,
typical.
I'll
guarantee you this. That $230 million guaranteed contract that Jimmy Haslam wrote for Deshaun Watson pissed off probably 31 NFL owners because now
it's a problem. Yep.
You've changed the market.
If you got to put all that money in escrow, all the guaranteed money in escrow, do they do that in baseball or basketball? I don't think they do that.
No.
So why are they telling the league, the Eagles, telling the NFL they have to do it?
That's because the NFL wants to make money off of the interest so they can pay you back. Get this, they're using your own interest against you. How shady and shitty.
Right.
Okay. Hey, by the way, when Burrow's contract is up, you're going to have to pay that guy $700 million.
Right. Exactly.
According to Xander here, full contract in escrow, according to cap specialists from Pro Football Focus. So if you get your contracts guaranteed, what Barrett's saying is they take the majority of the money that's owed to you in years out, and what they'll do is they'll put that money aside, they'll drop it in escrow, then they'll collect the interest on it, pay you with some of the interest of your own money instead of you having the money in your bank collecting your interest. The organization collects the interest. That's shitty.
But a lot of these owners don't have that money liquid in cash like that. Like, I mean, you're asking, Jeffrey Lurie, if he signed, he signed a player for $100 million, have $100 million laying around, put it in an escrow account that he can't touch. Just have it there. I mean, how do you conduct business as a team when you have that much money sitting because it's a guaranteed contract? So if you have all the money that's guaranteed to all your players, I mean, what if it's like for that year? What if it's like $110 million?
Jerry stroked a $75 million check for Dak last year.
Yeah, I'm saying, but $250 million?
I get it. A $250 million, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Wow.
Hey, I want, you know what? I've never asked you this question, and I want you to buckle up here. I want to take a time out here, and I want to ask you this question after the time out here, because I've not gotten your opinion on Colin Kaepernick. Jim Harbaugh and him are making some news today, and I want to get your spin on him. I haven't asked you your position and how you see him, and whether or not he's still relevant in NFL conversation. We'll get back to some Eagle conversation too, some other guys in the draft potentially that they could be looking at. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Dan Sileo. Back in 3 minutes.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Welcome back to the middle. Barrett Brooks, Dan Sileo. Who wins his first playoff game? Nick Sirianni or Doug Peterson with his new team, the Jaguars?
Oh, Nick.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick. I don't see this team right now in Jacksonville losing that culture that fast. Yes, Doug is a good coach, but that's a losing culture down there. It's gonna be hard to get past, bro.
What was the culture like?
Sometimes the athletes there.
Okay, well let me ask you this then. Well, how bad was the culture after Chip Kelly left Philly?
It was pretty bad. I mean, he almost ruined it in 2 years. But there was enough guys from Andy Reid's regime to keep it from just totally being, devastated. They brought in some good players that, had sound chemistry together. Like Malcolm coming in. That was one of Chip Kelly's guys. Malcolm came in. They had Sproles. They brought in Sproles. Guys like that changed how they changed the culture and back to almost an Andy Reid-esque type of culture, because Andy Reid, Doug was an Andy Reid disciple. And the culture that he had, they didn't destroy in 2 years. They came close. Chip Kelly came close to it, but you could still see some of the aging veterans that were in that locker room. Like when you have a guy like Jason Peters, there's only so far that you're going to take things with Jason Peters or Malcolm Jenkins or Lane was still young back then, but Jason Kelsey. He had strong fundamental guys really down there to keep it going. Doug has none of that there. All those guys have been losing their entire career. So he's got to change that culture. And it's going to take him a little bit to change that culture. They've been down there. They've been bad. There's been some bad football in Jacksonville.
There has.
That owner, man, he just pulled out of the Black News Network. He put $50 million. Well, yeah, I think $50 million into that network. It didn't pay dividends in the last 2 years, and he pulled out. Now it's done.
Shay Khan, yeah, he's one of the richest. He's one of the richest owners in the NFL. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be an elite quarterback, and I'm going to say something to you here. I haven't said it yet, but I'm going to say it now. I don't think the Eagles are going to make the playoffs this coming year.
Oh, that's definitely a possibility.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. You know why? They don't have a playoff offense. They just, you know what? You can tell me how much you love the team. You could tell me how much you believe in Jalen, and I don't see it. See, what's good about me, Barrett, you've been around the team so long, I'm parachuting in, and I'm just giving you almost like an outsider's perspective going, you think that's an elite offense? You think that's even an average NFL offense? It's not. It's a hokey offense. It's one-dimensional. I mean, it's the closest thing I've seen to, like, what was that thing? The Wildcat. It's almost it's like an open field Wildcat offense that relies solely, though, on running the ball. If the Eagles get shut down running the ball, which I'm not saying they will, because that old line is one of those O-lines that does this. I'm running right here. You're nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna beat your ass. those are hard ass O-lines to play against because I've had guys go, I'm running right at you. And you're going, shit. Those are the tough O-lines when a guy's looking at you going, it's coming right downhill on you, homeboy. You better buckle up and square up that ankle of yours. So I get it. But to me, man, I'm not impressed with that offense, man. I think that caught everybody off guard last year. I think everybody will catch up with it this year because they haven't done anything to improve the attack. The attack is not Miami. I look at Miami and I think Tua's probably going to throw for 4,000 yards this year. How could he not? If he can't, someone else will because you're set up for $4,000 in that offense. Jalen's not set up for 4,000 yards improvement.
But there's no means in which they can go out and get that right now, except through the draft. Now,
that's why I say they're not going to make the playoffs.
You know, I'm going to tell you the truth. A game-changing wide receiver in the draft right now, who I could see really helping that offense take off, whether it be Wilson from Ohio State or Williams from Alabama. I think Alabama. But he's almost back.
He is.
He's running.
He's running
recently. So he's almost back. I think he is. He'd be worth one of those picks, one of those first round picks to me now.
I'm gonna say this to Ewing. Ewing, I'm not turning on Hurts. I'm turning on the offensive huddle. I am not turning on Jalen. Not at all. No. You're not giving him enough. You're not helping him. Barrett said it today. Dude, Gainwell. Okay. You know what? You're giving me names. I don't see explosiveness. I mean, that's all I'm saying. This is not a shade conversation on Jalen whatsoever. It's more on Howie.
Yeah.
It's more on Howie. Now, look, like you said, Barrett, one of these kids turns into like a Jamarcus Chase or turns into Chase up in Cincinnati. Shit, yeah, it changes the whole conversation around. But do you know tell people what a coin flip that is? That you're looking at a 1,500-yard receiver coming to the Eagles.
It's like the lottery, man, and that's what the draft is. It's like the lottery. And in the past couple of years, with the exception of this last year, that lottery, our lottery picks have been, we haven't hit the Powerball. We think we've hit the Powerball with Smith. I say Smith is a really good wide receiver, but if you don't give me something the opposite of him, they're not going to do anything but just bracket him and bracket Goddard. It's going to slow the offense down.
Barrett, your best pick in the last 3 years has been a 7th rounder. Jordan Mailata.
Well, we're starting to reap the benefits now. It took him 4 years to get there, but Howie doesn't have 4 years. He has 3 years.
In the last 4 years, okay? In the last 4 years, your best pick's a 7th rounder. And you know what usually that is, folks, when you find a 7th rounder? Best player available. That's not a lot of science that goes into 6 and 7, right?
Well, I don't think it was even that. Just like, Xander said, Stoutland liked them because Stoutland loved him. That's why he told him to pick him up. He wasn't even on the radar, but Stoutland heard about him and thought, hey, I want to take a chance on that kid.
The only other story I've ever heard of a guy that dominant and good, and he is Larry Allen being a 12th rounder at a humble state.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard of any. Larry Allen was a 12th round draft choice by the Cowboys, and he's arguably the greatest offensive lineman I've ever seen.
Was that 94?
Yeah. Guy runs 4.3. A guy runs 4.8s at 350 pounds. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's one of the best athletes. It's 700-pound bencher.
Yeah. Put it like this, Dan. He has a weight bench bar. His weight bench bar is permanently bent. When he stacks all the weight, they have to drill a hole at the end of his weight bench bar, and stick a plug in it. So when he puts all in, they stick the plug in because all the weight will fall off because it's permanently bent like this. So because when you lift it, it's so heavy, it's bending the bar.
Dave Campos sent me his 700-pound bench at the Cowboy facility. And he sent it to, he goes, Sileo, you got to see, because he knew my exploits in the weight room. And so he sent it to me. He goes, look at this. He put up 705. And I was like, you have to, and he's like 6'5", right? He's a 6'5" guy.
Yep.
She's the arm length alone. At the arm length, I mean, his arm lengths are twice mine, and he's throwing up 705. I've never seen anything like it. But to go back to the point, you know, I didn't want to say it. I just don't see the Eagles making the postseason because I don't see the improvement enough. Because here's what's going to improve against the Philadelphia Eagles this year: the defensive coordinators. The coordinators are going to improve against Jalen. They're going to put a game plan together. Like I said, they're going to mush rush him, like you said, Barrett. They're going to contain him in the box, and they're going to make him one-dimensional, and they're going to do what Todd Bowles did in the playoff game. They're going to make him go out and try to win the game and have to win the game throwing the ball. The Eagles are not capable right now with the way it's set up. They're not capable of moving the sticks through the air. They're just not. I mean, will Jalen get better? Sure. But will the talent around him get better? I mean,
that's the question.
Devontae needs someone on the other side of him because all I'm going to do is double the dude and let Quez and Pascal and Goddard beat me. Tell me,
you gotta say it like that, man.
Tell me
you
I'm being too
like
hyperbolic here, and tell me I'm looking at it objectively here. Where are you? Where did you get better, and where did you improve? Every quarterback has to improve. Joe Burrow's going to be better this coming season because he'll work at throwing the ball because he's got the skill set to throw the ball. Jalen doesn't have the skill set to throw the ball, dude, because every time you throw 950 yards at me, I know for a fact that he doesn't have the skill set to throw the ball. Because how many 950-yard passers do you have outside of the guy in Baltimore, and he's not him, has 950 yards on their resume, and you go like this, that guy is as accurate as Aaron Rodgers. There isn't one.
Well, see, you know, what you mean by 970 yards, about 907 yards rushing.
Well, I'm saying every time I see that, that's the major part of him moving the sticks.
Right.
If you turn him into one-dimensional, Barrett, he can't beat you in the air. He's not fundamentally set up to beat you throwing the ball. He's just not. And the skill around him is not set up. Hey, Quez Watkins, hey, think about Quez for a second. Quez is a cheap man's version of Tyreek Hill. He's a deep threat guy. He's not a route running guy. He's not. He's not a route runner. I watch the way he plays. You put him in a straight line and let that 4-3 knock the top off the defense. That's what makes him good. They don't have one blocking tight end in that group except the kid who's a flop from Stanford, and he can't catch the ball. He's got brick hands. I mean, and the other kid doesn't want to play. The kid Rager, I mean, he never comes back to the ball. He never helps his quarterback. You ever watch him? I'll tell you why I don't like him on the Eagle team. You ready? The reason I don't like him, when Jalen's scrambling, instead of helping your quarterback out by coming back to the ball and finding open space, what does he do? He stays in his route process. He stays in his route, continues to run his route and going deep. You're doing this when a guy is scrambling, trying to find – he's widening it, and you want to know why Jalen underthrows him all the time? Because the wide receiver's not helping him coming back to the ball. Fundamentals. Yeah. He has no fundamentals in that whole thing. Xander, he does. Devontae is well-trained. The other guys aren't.
Well, you got to look at this also, man. When you look at Jalen can get better. He will get better. But does he have enough? Like right now, everybody's on his back because he's not in Philly right now. He's working with the experts in California. And I heard Jaws on today as I'm driving up. Jaws, yesterday, Jaws hosted on WIP, and he said some stuff that really made me think. Jalen doesn't think at this point that his coaches can get him where he needs to be as far as his accuracy and fundamentals. He knows that they can help him out in the plays and where people are supposed to be at and all that stuff. But right now, he wants to hone down his fundamentals. He wants to be more fundamentally sound in the passing game, which will allow him then to go through his progressions better. Maybe even, help with, his yards, his throwing arm, his yards per attempt and everything, just by being more fundamentally sound and having his body underneath him, driving through, hip, all that stuff. So when he comes back, will he be at a point where, he can help his team because then they can take over after that? I don't know. I mean, he's just trying to figure out where he can go to become and optimize the best player he can be for next year.
That's a great point by Jaws, because you're right. Lincoln Riley worked on his footwork and worked on his understanding of how to get back into a 7. And if you're short like he is, you do a little bit of what Russell Wilson did. Wilson goes back into a 9 so he can see over his O-lineman, working on those kind of things. Nick Sirianni has been dealing with people like Phillip Rivers and quarterbacks like that, where you're not teaching that shit to them. You're teaching pre-snap reads, where you go with it. And you're right, there's a disconnect there with that, because what Sirianni has to do then is he's got to look at him and go, well, he's clearly not in a progression read in his career right now. So it's more about making sure technically sound. And I'm not sure that's Nick's forte, and teaching technically sound. You get that shit in college. Yep. You don't get that stuff in the NFL, because as you and I say, they're really great quarterbacks, Barrett. When they come to the line of scrimmage, they've already got a place where they're going with the ball. Yep. They're moving you with their body. They're moving you with their head. They're going to go like this and look one way. That's going to slide the defense. That's going to slide the free and strong to come across and cover the seam here. And you're going over here into the slot. You're doing all of this because you're moving people around. There is no way he's in that room right now. And so Jaws is right. Is he going to get the fundamentally sound teaching? I think Jalen's limited in that. They saw that at Bama. They knew that, and they could get away with it in the Big 12. Because why? No disrespect, big brother, but they don't play any defense in that conference.
Right.
They ain't playing defense in that conference. And you got barn door openings in the Big 12. The Southeastern Conference, it's a little bit more shorter. That's why they got Devontae Smith in space. You had all them great. You had Jamison Williamson. You had Waddle for a little bit last year, or the year before when he was there. You're going to have all these open spaces because those wide receivers. Isn't it funny? Alabama had a better wide receiving grouping than the Philadelphia Eagles do. Okay, they did. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jamison Williams. You had those 3 dudes.
Calvin Ridley was there. You had all these guys were there at the same time. Then not Calvin Ridley, but what is his name? Oh my goodness.
How far removed is Amari Cooper?
Right, he was around there then with
Julio,
with, Ridley, but also the kid that just killed those people from
the guy in the Raider guy.
Yeah, from the Raiders.
Yeah,
he was there also. All those kids, there were 5 first rounders in camp at one time. 5
Think about that. So really, Hurts is working with Tom House. That's Tom Brady's guy.
I think so.
I know Tom.
Yep.
Okay, so he's working. He's okay.
He's in California
you know
right
what
now.
he teaches? He teaches preparation and preparing the body and preparing technique-wise. They're working on your quarterback fundamentals. Okay. When you're working with Tom House, your quarterback, all of the things that it's TB12 system actually. So he's working the way Tom Brady's working. He may be actually working with Tom Brady. Jalen Hurts. It wouldn't shock me because Tom House is Brady's guy. I told you that's the guy that caught the Henry Aaron 715th home run
Yeah,
catch. He was the member of the Atlanta Braves. No shit, man. That's the guy who caught the home run out there in Atlanta when he was he was in the bullpen when Aaron hit that home run off Al Downing. It's true, man. I mean, how'd you like to be? That's your distinction. I'm Tom Brady's coach, and I caught 715 in the bullpen when I was a Brave. Pretty crazy. But hey, am I wrong, Barrett? Am I going over the line when I say that I don't see the Eagles making the playoffs? I think they take steps backwards unless they find a guy in the draft and he turns out to be special.
Well, there's so many factors that have to, come in order for them to get to that point where they can make that jump. I mean, one thing for sure, that running game has to be back to where it was, and the only way you can do that is if the running back position is solidified, man. Do they have enough even in the running back room? I mean, did they sign Howard back? I don't even know if they signed Howard back.
Who?
Howard.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry, but okay, yeah. Let me know who he is. Hey, what? Boston?
Howard
Boston?
was.
Sure.
But see, Jordan Howard, he was their first down back. He was their first in 3rd and 1 and goal line back. He was that back for him. Then they have, we still waiting for Miles Sanders to step out of his shell and become that big time back that we drafted him in the 2nd round for. I mean, and he's got to make it happen because this is his contract year. So it's make or break for him. He's got to stay healthy. So I mean, if Miles Sanders can come out of his shell and play at an elite level and become the back we draft him in the 2nd round for, all these ifs. If Jalen Reagor, and he's going to have to play whether we like it or not, Jalen Reagor has to come out of his shell. He has become at least a manageable type of player. I mean, we always forgetting the fact, right now we have.
Barrett, will you stop? Will you stop?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying because
I know you are, man, and I'm giving you so much love for that. I'm sitting. I can't let you go on. No,
not with. You have to stop with the Jalen Reagor. But he has to be.
When you said Jalen Reagor has to step, I gotta stop you, dog. I can't let you do it, man. I just can't let you do. I can't let you go there, man. Man, that guy's already signed who he is, man. That guy's zebra stripes are who he is. It's not. He ain't. Wait a minute. How much do you think is Jalen hurting him?
No, that's.
Wait, if Jalen Reagor goes to Joe Burrow, how many yards do you think and catches he gets?
No, it doesn't improve because the reason I say that because I was thinking if he goes out and starts breaking out in special teams, maybe that'll build his confidence going into the offense. You know what I'm saying?
When I watch him on special teams, Barrett, I see a guy who doesn't want to play special teams.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And if he doesn't want to play that, then how is he going to play offense? So something has to open up in him. Because, like I said, I played with his pops. His pops was a player, man.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how he's just not trying to be the best player he can be. I don't see him that irritates me the most. I can understand if you don't have the talent, if you don't have the capabilities to do it. But when you don't try.
You know what he's doing? Magic Johnson tried to become the coach of the Lakers one time. See what Barrett's doing here? And he sat down. I can't understand why you guys aren't playing hard and you guys don't know when that guy's on a pick and roll to get that ball down on the box. Well, Barrett, not everybody understands the game like you do and sees the game like you do and understands the things you have to do to keep yourself in the game like you do. And there lies the issue. Those are things. Get this. Everything I just said, Barrett, takes no talent. It takes effort.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Effort. You can control effort. But Dan, if you're a turd, you eventually don't want to be a turd, right? You eventually want to be a player.
Or you don't see yourself as a turd. You live in denial. You live in denial. Hey, Barrett, you know the people that are on those American Idol auditions, they hear themselves as being Marvin Gaye. But when you hear them, you're like, that ain't it. And sometimes guys, they look at you ever see those faces? Because I like the auditions because it's a stunner for people to get told you suck. When someone looks at you and goes, that's the worst I've ever heard. And the person goes, are you crazy? My mom says I'm great. I'm sure your mom says you're great. Okay? But you're lucky if you're going to sing. What's the name of the place you're staying at? What's the name of the place you're staying at?
Embassy Suites.
Okay, you're lucky if you're playing the Embassy Suites tonight in the lounge where Barrett's having dinner tonight.
Bro,
hey, you're not playing the Embassy Suites tonight in Syracuse, New York, dude.
but Dan, tell the truth, man. If you're a turd and everybody's telling you a turd, don't you have some intestinal fortitude to want to go out there and
you would hope.
I had to get my name out of people's mouth, man. I'd have to do that. For me, my inner drive would push me. Just like when I said when I got to college. When I got to college, bro, I never lifted weights. Never. They say, God, we got to go to the weight room, man. I'm not going to that weight room. I would leave. I would go home. I never lifted weights. When I got to college, I benched 135. So let me tell you a quick story. I get to college, and we're meeting the team. So it was like maybe 18 of us, and we all had one by one sit up in our chair and tell who we were, where we're from, and what position we played. So my boy Andre Coleman gets up. He gets a, hey, my name is Andre Coleman. I'm from Heritage, Pennsylvania, and I play receiver. My boy JJ Smith stands up. Yeah, I'm JJ Smith from Kansas City. I'm from KC, and I play running back. You know what my dumb ass did? I jumped out and said, look, my name is Barrett Brooks. I'm from the Lou, St. Louis, that is, and I'm going to the league. That's what I said, dog.
I love that.
I said, I play DN. I'm going to the league. I said that in front of the coach. Said, sit. That's how I started with me. Sit your ass down, Brooks. Sit down. And from that point on, so then we go to the weight room, and you know, say we run 40s first. So I go run a 40. I ran like a 4.92. So I'm feeling myself. We get to the weight room. They put 2 plates on there.
225.
And at 225, I get up
225.
Boom. I couldn't even get it off my chest.
Oh my God.
So then they take the plates off, and it's just 140, 135, 145, whatever it is, 135.
135.
And I barely get it up for one. There was wide receivers that got it like 4 or 5 times. I could only do it one time. So what happens? From that point on, we go to the lunchroom, and they rolled me lunchtime and dinner time. Brooks, you're going to the league, but you only bench 135, hon. They use it. I used it as motivation every single day. Bro, I went from benching 135 to spring ball. I was benching 375.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's over a 7-month period.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
To 375.
Because you probably just looked at weightlifting like, see, you're one of them country dudes like Jerome. you pick a dude up and you could throw him like across the room, whether you're benching 135 or 375. You're one of them country guys, man. Makes me sick.
Look, Dan, I didn't want to be the turd, and I was the turd for 7 months. I wanted to spring ball, ripping guys' faces off. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to be the turd. Why doesn't he, J-Jaw, he shouldn't want to be a turd. All those guys should be like, You know, I don't want to be that turd. You know what I'm saying? So
No. Jalen should be saying this. Sileo, Brooks, keep my name out of your effing mouths. Keep my name out of your mouths, man. Okay?
Exactly.
That's what he should be saying. You're right, no, but some people don't have that intestinal fortitude. They just don't. They're not built that way. And I'm with you. I don't get it either. So what's on the agenda for today? What are you doing, man? You're in some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up here. I'm doing the. I'm actually doing the orange and blue game for Syracuse football, doing their spring football game. So I'm broadcasting that tomorrow on ESPN. So I'll be doing that. Starts at 7:00 Eastern time.
Oh, you're gonna be on the tube?
Yeah, bro. Come on.
Oh,
man.
dude, I'll watch it. Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then today I got to go over there at 3:30, interview the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, and then at 4:30 we got to interview. Well, not interview. We just got to sit down with the head coach. So
that dude better start winning this year.
Yeah. So he's on the hot seat a little bit. So after that,
one good year a couple years ago, but he needs to start winning, man.
Right. So I mean, that's it, man. Do that. Once I do that, I'm gonna come back here, watch a little more tape of last year's games, and what I'm saying, then shut it down. And tomorrow, jump on our show, let you know what's going on with Syracuse football a little bit.
Oh, I'd like to know because I told you I got recruited up there one time to go up there, and I was like, I don't know, man. You play inside and shit. It's a refrigerator place. Okay, man. And, no. Wait. Lastly, hey, we're going to give you 44. I said, man, you ain't giving me Jim Brown's freaking number. And I go, how many, because I was a linebacker in high school. And I go like this to the guy. I go, how many times have you offered that? This guy, Norm Gerber, who was recruiting for McPherson back in the day, he goes like this. He goes, we'll give you 44. I said, man, you ain't giving me Jim Brown's number. How many guys did you offer that to? He goes, okay, fair enough, 10. I said, I'll catch you tomorrow. Don't forget later on today, the National Football Show, 4 to 6 Eastern time. My brother, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for everyone joining us. We'll see you on the flip side.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, we got this. Call 215-458-2222.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.